Welcome, everybody, to the Modern Day Overthinker podcast. My name is Colin, and I am your host. This week's episode is with Jon Clash, formerly known as rapper J Clash. Wow. This was one of those interviews that took me a while to get because Jon is a very busy guy, and I've been very busy, and it's not one of those things where he didn't want to do it. He definitely was down, as soon as I reached out to him, he was like, yeah, let's do it. And that dude's all over the place. He's literally all over the place. He travels so much. He currently lives in Puerto Rico. That's home base for him. He's from Yonkers, New York. Crazy story, man. He just has one of those awesome transformation stories where he's completely changed his life, and I really had a great time talking to him because I've kind of followed his journey online throughout the years since, probably going back to the MySpace days and following him as a rapper and seeing what he's doing now, and he's just a light, man. He's a good dude. He's out here trying to make a difference and do good things. And yeah, he got into Christianity, deep into Christianity, and has transformed his life. We got to talk about his point in his life where the music business was just so tiring for him, and he was just sick of it and ready to get out, and he found his way out, and then from there it's just been a complete transformation for him with his life. And I really hope we get to do another one of these because we talked about it towards the end, because we could have talked for way longer, as I can do with most of my guests, but only had a certain amount of time to get this episode in, and I hope you really enjoy it. This is my conversation with Jon Clash. One of my many online relationships that I've known somebody for a long time, and we've never actually talked face to face like this. So this is awesome.
Sounded like you swiped right on me.
I swiped right on you. Yeah. I'm on too many dating apps, buddy. It's tough. It's a tough game out there. You're lucky you're married.
That is a fact. I am so blessed. Oh my gosh.
Is your brother single, or is he married too?
He's in a long-term relationship.
Okay.
So one's in a long-term relationship. The other one just recently got married, and my sister is engaged.
Okay, so they're not worried about that either, man.
Yeah, they got it on lock.
It's weird, man. I mostly just do it. I've deleted them. I've downloaded them again, and I don't know. It's a waste of time for the most part. But
I had it when I was single. And it was like I wasn't even doing it to date. It was like just dopamine hits of like swipe right, swipe right, swipe right, swipe left.
Match.
Match. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's awesome. And like I never talked to them. I think I've met, I don't know, maybe I just lost power.
So Jon lost power for a brief moment. If you're listening and you aren't subscribed on any of our social media channels, you should be, because why not? And also on the podcast platform that you're listening to on right now, so you're notified when there's new episodes. New episodes are every Monday until the end of the year. Luckily, the power is not lost for too long, and we got right back into it.
Are we good? Do you hear me?
Yeah. I don't know what.
We're still connected to Wi-Fi?
Yeah,
that's interesting. So in Puerto Rico, we lose power a lot. So that's why I was like, oh no, tell me this is happening right now.
You're just
But
used to it, but you're used to it. How often are you talking about? Like once a week?
nah, not once a week, but it's like if the wind blows in the wrong direction, it's like we lose power. So it's and then we got hit with the hurricane.
Yeah.
So they've been in the process of like fixing things, but it's just the whole island grid is jacked up, like super jacked up. So it's going to be a long process to fix it all. And during that fixing process, it's like it's still jacked up. So if it rains too hard, we'll lose power.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That is one drawback. At least you got the weather though.
I would much rather lose power than shovel snow.
Yeah. How long do you lose power for usually though?
It's usually not that long. It'll be like sometimes it's like 20 minutes we lose power for.
Okay.
Then if you got a hurricane, we were out for a week, so that wasn't fun.
No, I've done a couple days, and that's the most I've had to do. We had a weird. It wasn't a tropical storm because I'm in the middle of the United States, but they called it a derecho. It was just a windstorm.
Yeah.
And it was so powerful. It took out people's power, a bunch of trees, and it was just a huge mess for some people were without power for like a week and a half. It was crazy. Had nothing to do with like any hurricane or anything. It was just this weird
random windstorm.
It was ridiculous. And I remember hearing it and I'm just like, this is it. Am I in a tornado right now? And it wasn't a tornado either. I don't know. But
Midwest problems.
Yeah, Midwest problems. But the great thing about the Midwest is, well, at least where I'm at in Iowa, is it is very cheap to live here. So I enjoy that. That is what
of Puerto Rico as well. You look at things like how can my money go longer? Live below your means, and that's something that's like difficult to do in New York, to live below your means,
I've
because
heard.
if you make a lot of money, you're still broke.
I've heard. I've seen videos on TikTok. You know, the guy that asks people how much they pay for rent in New York. Have you seen that guy?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just like some of the the apartments that are just like they're just like closets basically, and they're just like they're still paying more than I pay for my mortgage, and I'm just like,
Yep.
no way.
But I'm in New York. You make it here, you make it anywhere. Okay.
Yeah, just like LA. I would move to New York before I moved to LA though.
LA's crazy right now. Like it is. I mean, only LA. The rest of California is like nice, but LA is just people are running from it. Like it's just falling apart. It looks like a war zone.
I saw Wahlberg just moved out.
Yep.
He was the most recent one I saw. Rogan's been out for a while.
Yep.
It's crazy, man. So there's a couple different reasons. Obviously, you chose Puerto Rico, your wife, the weather, and obviously there's been a lot of different changes you've gone through. You started your own company. How long have you had your company going for?
I would say maybe like 4 years, 4 years. Yeah, I gotta remember, because like I think back to I came up with it while I was driving, and I just think
classic.
Yeah, trying to think back to when that was. But yeah, I think it's like 3-4 years. 2018. Yeah, 4 years.
That's crazy. So what's the well, tell us a little bit about Jon Clash, or J Clash, formerly known as J Clash. You go by J Clash online as well. So
it is I got a mix, if you're my mom, you call me Jonathan. If you're friends, you call me John. People know me from music as J Clash. And then the Jon Clash thing, it actually started like 10 years ago. I remember Jay Hatch was the first person to call me Jon Clash, and I don't know, I guess it's been it now.
So actually, I kind of want to know the story behind why you chose to be done with music. That is actually a good story that I wanted to hear.
So
start there.
All right. Let me sip on my water that I pretend is vodka. It's good water. But so I did music since like I could breathe. So it wasn't like a overnight decision, but
No, no.
I was doing music, and the more that I did it, um, the the less I liked it, right? So I liked making the music. I enjoyed expressing myself that way. I enjoyed hip hop. That was
The
my whole
culture.
entire life, you know. Yeah, I break danced when I was little. You know, all my friends were into hip hop. Like it's what I was around. And then when I started rapping, and people were like, "Yo, you're actually pretty good." It like gave me confidence, and then I
Yeah.
started to turn it into a career and everything. So it was a lot of fun. But I had hooked up with this management group who was like kind of sideline of, you remember when Young Money was popping,
Hmm.
with Lil Wayne and stuff like that. So they were I was in that little group. He took me to a bunch of meetings, and it was like the more I got into the actual music industry side of it, the less I enjoyed it, because they're like, look, you're good and everything, but we need you to make a song like this. I make a song like that. They're like, oh, that's great, but now we need you to make a song like this. And I'm like, okay, so I go and make a song like that, and they're like, "Ah, that's cool, but now we need you to make a song like this." And I'm like, I just want to make the songs that I want that I want to make, like the songs that got me in the door. What's up with these songs, you know?
Yeah.
So it not only that, but I looked at I looked at music as like a way out, a way out of the streets, a way out of the regular 9 to 5, a way out of like just regular life. I never wanted like a quote unquote
Free.
regular life.
You wanted it for freedom.
Yeah,
You wanted to
that's
do it for freedom. Yeah.
that's what I wanted. And then the more that I got in the industry, the more I realized this wasn't freedom.
Mm.
It was, I was tired of living a life of like looking over my shoulder. And I thought that music was like an escape from that. And the more I got into the music industry, the more I realized it's the same thing. This is the same thing as the streets, except people got money in here. Like, this is
Yeah.
ridiculous. So,
Backstabbing and stuff
yeah,
like
it
that.
was crazy. I remember like, also there's a lot of ups and downs of like, man, I think this is it. No, it's not. Oh man, I think this is it. No, it's not. Oh, I think this is it. No, it's not. So I was kind of tired of that. Then I was tired of like my job at the time getting laid off all the time. It was like my music career would go like this when my job was going like this, and then my job would go like this, my music career is like this. It was just, it's like mess of everything, right?
What were you doing as a job at
I
that
was an
time?
electrician.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was in the apprenticeship program for most
Got
of
it.
the time. All right. Electricians, they make good money.
Yeah, my
When,
buddy is in the program right now.
all right, cool. But when you're an apprentice, it's like,
Yeah, he's doing all right.
yeah. So I was also involved in like street stuff at that time as well, because I could never rely just on the electrical stuff, because it was like I'd be working and then boom, I'm laid off, and then I'm working, and then even when I'm working, I'm not making enough. Like it just was like I said, in New York, even if you make a whole lot of money, you're still broke.
Yeah.
So, and I wasn't making a whole lot of money, and I was broke, and I was on my own. So I was just like, I don't know. So anyway, I was in that like cycle of, I was tired of my job. I was tired of the music industry. And then we did that song called When You Come Home, the military one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so so I had moved into an apartment, and I got laid off like the day after I moved into the apartment. And I was just like,
Terrible
all right,
timing.
yeah, I know. I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go ham on this song, and promoting the song, and promoting like everything. I'm just gonna go absolutely ham on it. So we did. Like we went crazy, and we won an underground music award for it, and like all of this stuff. And it's still like, with all of that going on, like nothing happened from it. And then I got the stuff with my manager at the time, and all of this, and I'm just like, what am I doing here? Right. I was kind of looking for a way out. Right. I was just really looking for a way out. And when I was still in the motion of doing all the music stuff, I had got to a point where I was just like looking around, like this can't be it. Like this can't be it. I'm literally sleeping on a cot that I used for a music video. I have no furniture. I'm eating ramen noodles every single day. I'm like, something's got to give. Like I got to do something. I'm losing my mind here. And then funny thing would have it, I got an inbox. No, I saw somebody post on Facebook saying like, oh, I'm going to Dubai. I'm going here. I'm going there. I'm like all of these places that she wanted to travel to. And she's like, who's coming with me? I just literally wrote underneath it. I was like, me? Question mark.
Yeah.
Right? And she inboxed me and she sent me this video of this company that was in travel, right? And I was like, hold on a second. I think my manager was trying to tell me about this, right? I remember him telling me about some online business that he thinks I should get involved in, and I'm like, I don't care about that. Just give me a song with Nicki Minaj. Like, I don't care. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And but after I watched the video, I was like, I think I could do this, right? So
Yeah.
I called him. I was like, hey, bro, is this the thing that you were telling me about? Blah 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 blah. And he's like, yeah, you idiot. I was trying to tell you about it. Like, just he was super hyped about it. And I'm like, all right, I think I'm gonna do it. And he's like, well, you're gonna do it with me, right? I'm like, yeah, I don't know that girl. Of course, I'm gonna do it with you. So it was an online network marketing business, right?
Hmm.
And I don't know
I
if you
think
know.
I've heard of it. What's it called?
It was called World Ventures.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it had like the "you should be here" signs and stuff like that,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I this is my first time ever hearing about that you could like work from home. I don't have to go clock into a job. And I was like, all right, one of two things is gonna happen. Either this
It's
is
gonna be a
real.
flop.
Yeah, either this is real and it's gonna work, or this is going to be another failure. Like that was it. Like it was one of those two things. So I remember it's so if you don't know what network marketing is, it's a recruiting system, right? It's you recruit customers and you recruit sales reps, right? So my first goal was to make a sale to see if they sent me my money, right? Like
Yeah.
that was it. I
Yeah.
need to make sure this wasn't no scam. Like
Yeah. Of course.
if I made my first sale. I remember I like waited. I waited to get paid before doing anything else. I remember the $20, I made $20 from that sale, right? And my friends were like, we were all, I showed them what was going on. And I was like, look, I'm gonna see if this works, right?
I'll be the guinea pig. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. When I got that check, I remember I sent a text message. I was like, yo, they sent me a check. They were like, deposit it right now. So once I deposited it
Yeah.
and
Make
it
sure it
cleared,
wasn't phony.
yeah, I hit up all my friends. I'm like, it works, it works. So we went absolutely crazy. I went from driving a '98 Ford Thunderbird that the wheel fell off of to a 5 Series BMW to like traveling all over the place and helping other people make money and like all of this stuff. So I'm like, music, like in my mind, I'm like, I'll go back to music when I feel like it. But I started winning in life.
Yeah.
So and then another thing too that I enjoyed was that environment got me around people who thought like positively. They,
Mhm.
I was always around people who thought negatively. That's like how the streets is. That's how hip hop is. That's that environment. And now I'm around these people who like, I remember I walked into one of the trainings and like everybody was all happy and like, hey, what's up, bro? Blah, 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 blah. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, what's up with these people? Like, what are they on?
Yeah.
And but I liked it. I was like, I like people being friendly to me. Like, this is cool. I was so used to
Yeah.
every meeting that I go for music, I got to be tough. Every event I do, I got to be tough. Every show that I do, I got to be tough. I got stabbed outside of a show. Like, like this is the environment. So when I got introduced to that environment, not only that, but we were like, we were making some money, and then I was making money in my sleep. Like I would go to sleep, I wake up to more money, and I was just like, man, I don't think I want to do music anymore. So I kind of just took that as like that was my way out. I
Mhm.
stopped. I didn't stop doing music, but I stopped like trying to get signed, trying to be famous, trying to. I really enjoyed building teams. I still to this day love building teams. I love pulling people together. I love helping people elevate their lives. Like I love doing all that stuff. So when I started like really winning there, really helped. Like I had like 6 people get BMWs in like 3 months, like it was just crazy. And so that kind of took me off music. And then I just made songs here and there. And I've been kind of doing business ever since. I'm not with that same company anymore. I'm working with a different company. I have my own company. But like that was kind of like the launching pad of my life changing.
That makes a lot of sense. So why did you choose to, did you just go higher up in management with this other company then? It was just a better deal or what?
No, so I rocked out with that company for like 8 years, right?
Yeah.
Up until COVID. And
Yeah, that
so,
had to mess the whole game up.
oh man, travel. Like
Yeah.
that's all that we had was travel. So it was like it was like first they got frauded like $150 million in China, right? So that kind of was like a
Red
boom,
flag.
yeah, like an uppercut, right? And then they made some really bad investments. And I'm just like, things ain't looking too good. And then COVID hits, right? So COVID hits, I was, losing my mind. I'm like, what the heck are we gonna do? What are we
Yeah.
do? And then this other company came along and we had a meeting between companies, right? And I was like invited. I remember we got a call. We were in Orlando. This was the weekend I was gonna ask my wife's father if I can marry her. Right. So we were in Orlando. I was visiting him for the first time, never met him before. And I'm like, this is my only chance to ask him if I can marry his daughter. And while we're down there, we get a phone call saying, hey, can you be in Dallas tomorrow? From like, one of the higher ups that are over there. I was like, yes,
Yeah.
we can be in Dallas tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. So we went down there and we learned about the opportunity here at this other company. And I was a little like hesitant on it. I was like, I don't know, because it's not just travel. Like we're selling skincare, we're selling like nutrition. And I'm like, I don't want to be one of these guys that's like, hey, look at this, buy this stuff. Like I didn't want to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
Like corny, right? But that was until I realized that there were people making like 500 grand a month in companies like that. So I was like, oh, I'm a little open to it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so anyway, we saw that, said, all right, cool. This is what we're going to do now. We're going to move over here. And then I also bought some of the products to like try it. And I have stomach issues, right? Like IBS, I don't know what it is. My stomach is always jacked up.
Yeah.
And so when they were like, oh, you got to try the protein shake. It's made by this doctor, Dr. Howard Cohn. And, he's a medical genius and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, like super skeptical, New York, like whatever, heard it all before.
Yeah.
And I also don't like protein shakes because of my weak stomach. I drink a protein shake, it's over. I'm jacked up for 3 days. So I was skeptical, but they were
overload.
like, no. Yeah, they're like, no, try it. So I tried it. And the first day I tried it, I did like a testing where I didn't eat anything else. I just drank the shake so that if my stomach got messed up, I know that it's the shake, right? First day I did it, nothing happened. I was like, oh, that's interesting, right? Second day I tried it, nothing happened. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Third day I tried it, I realized that not only was it not upsetting my stomach, but it settled my stomach issues. So I was like, oh, hold up. Let me keep this going, right? So I just was drinking it every single day. And since then, my stomach issues haven't disappeared, but oh my gosh, is my life like night and day in comparison. So when that happened, it was like, wow, we made the right move. And boom, we hit the ground running with that as well. So that's kind of like where that transition happened. But it wasn't until I had like a really good experience with the products where I was like really happy with the decision we made. The decision
because you don't want to be selling some bum products.
It was like the decision was made because it was a smart move when you got COVID going on and it's still going on and you're like, what the heck are we gonna do?
Can't just do travel.
Yeah. So it was a smart business move that paid off physically for me as well. And we've helped a whole lot of people as well with a bunch of issues. We can't make like medical claims and stuff like that, but a whole bunch of issues that has been helped with from these products. So now it's like, I feel really good about being the product guy. You'll check my Instagram and now I'm talking about these products and I'm like, here I am. doing something I said I would
Being
never
that
do,
guy.
but when you got
That's
something good,
I've said that about the podcast. Like if so, I don't have any sponsors right now, but if I, I I keep going up in listeners and followers have been a lot more consistent, especially over the past year. And I'm not just going to be, one of those guys that takes all the sponsorships.
yeah,
Whatever you got, I'll say it. I don't care. I'm not going to be that guy. But if it's a product that I truly believe in, then yeah, I'll promote it. And that sounds like what you're doing.
yeah, it's all integrity, man. I think that
Yeah.
something that I can't stand, especially about the industry that I'm in, is that I'm in with that is, and all sales and all business, it's like
Yeah.
money is the focus. And yeah, we're in here to make money. Like you don't start a business to not make money.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do. But when you look at money as like the end all be all, when it's like, all right, well, I'll do this out of integrity for some money, I just can't do it.
No.
There was I was just recently pitched another company to go to,
Mhm.
right? And I'm like, never. Like I love what we're doing here. This has changed my life. Why would I do that? But I was like, you know what, I'll take a look at it because I love the person who is sharing it with me,
Yeah.
right? And I look at it and it was just like, to me, it was it was like Walmart, right? Like it just, everything looked cheap. It looked whack.
Generic.
Yeah. And the whole thing was like, oh, but we can make a lot of money over here, like
Cool.
more money than we're making over there. And I was like, yo, I don't care if they paid me $1 million a month to stay in my bed. I would never sign up to that company. Like, and that's how you got to be about business, about life, is your integrity. You
You
got to
have
be,
to have a line too. Like,
yeah, man. Plus, our company they just helped with the schools in Guatemala, right? Like we just were able to bring that program into like partnership with what we're doing over here. And that's something I'm super
yeah.
passionate about. And they're dedicated to, making sure schools get built, making sure we have trips going. I just got off the phone with the president of the company today discussing moving forward with building more schools and stuff like that. So it's like you got to find something. And this is not just like when it comes to a company, when it comes to like literally anything that you're doing in life, like you gotta love doing it, like
Yeah.
you gotta like, if I made no money, I would enjoy doing the things that I'm doing. I mean, obviously I want to make money, but
Yeah.
if I would just love doing everything that we're doing. And I've had high seasons and I've had low seasons, but I'm still excited about what's going on. And that's what you got to do. You got to find something that excites you and that allows you to maintain your integrity.
How long have I know you've been doing the Guatemala trips for a while. How long has that been going on? I know obviously COVID was a hiccup in that, but
We did 2 trips during
really?
COVID. So ours was the we did 1 trip right before the pandemic hit. Like when we
Okay.
got back to New York, it was like full-blown pandemic. We
Yeah.
would have got, I think they shut down the airport in Guatemala like 2 days after we left. So we literally just made it back. I mean, Guatemala is beautiful. Wouldn't mind being stuck out there.
Yeah, not a terrible place to suck
Yeah,
out, but
but you know what I'm saying. So we did it that time. And then when things sort of like, eased up a little bit and it wasn't as crazy, but it was still going on, we did 2 back-to-back trips and we had enough people in order for the trips to go. So like the pandemic for them out there, it was crazy. Like the company who puts together all of the stuff, because they had no trips coming out there, they had no funding, they had, so it was kind of like a scary situation for them. But as far as our trips went, like we got it done, and thank God that we did, because if the school's not getting built, if trips aren't running, then the system's not going, and then kids are not going to school, and that's the most important thing. We need to get these schools built so the kids can go to school.
so is there I'm trying to phrase this question correctly. Like, how much more work is there to do there? How bad is it?
Oh my gosh. So the island needs 10,000 schools. The country needs, sorry, now that I live on an island.
You're on an island. Yeah.
Yeah. The country needs like 10,000 schools, and we've built 130, 136.
Oh
So
man.
yeah, it's a long process. It's not something that is easy.
It's a
And it's
lifelong
also,
process.
yeah, this is something that we're not going to see the fruits of it in our lifetime. Like we're just not. This is something that you're planting for the next generation, and then the next generation. I'm hoping that my kids want to grow up and continue it. Not that I have kids yet, but hopefully,
Yeah.
they'll want to continue it on after me and my wife are gone. But to go back to your original question, um, I got invited on a trip, I think like 9 years ago, 9 or 10 years ago, and I was just a guest. And that trip changed my life because I went out there, I saw how happy these kids were with nothing. I came back out here, I saw how miserable everybody is with everything, completely changed my life. So I told them
Perspective.
guys,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, look, guys, I got a few things I got to do in business. Like I gotta get some things done. But once I accomplish that, I'm gonna lead some trips out here. And once I accomplished that goal, it took me a couple of years. But once I accomplished that goal, I went right back to them. I was like, hey, I'm ready to start leading trips. And since then, it's been pretty much every single year for the past 5 or 6 years that we've been doing this.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's cool. Making a difference where you can is very important and rewarding and fulfilling as well, which is awesome.
It blesses, like you really go out there thinking like, oh, I'm gonna change some kids' lives, and then you go out there and your life has changed. You're like, oh, yeah,
Yeah, it's a little bit of both.
yeah.
What else was I gonna ask you? Oh, I won't get further into the rap stuff, but I gotta ask one question about the rap stuff. Who
You
would
can,
you
you can go further.
you
You
go
can,
for
yeah,
you
you
go
can do
for
whatever you want, man. This is your show. I'm just here for the ride.
Oh yeah, it's my show. I can ask you whatever I want. All right. So when it comes to the rap stuff, how who did you said there was a lot of negativity. Did you meet anyone that was like that stood out and was like definitely that didn't fall in line with the negative? Because obviously not every single person in the industry is negative. There's just
Yeah.
more negativity than positivity. So anyone that you can remember or you still have contact with this today that like was just like, that's the guy that was like, I loved meeting that person. That person was awesome. Or maybe even name dropping somebody that you met that you thought you would never meet before or something like that.
Yeah. So Jadakiss, I would say, is really nice dude.
Yeah.
Like
I saw he's coming out with a coffee company.
yeah, yeah. His father's been in coffee like his whole entire life. So this is oh, did you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So his father's been involved in coffee his whole entire life, but he's come to our toy drives, and like he's just always been like super supportive. And he's like that with a lot of people. So I would say Jadakiss is, I mean, I never like met a whole bunch of like famous people. I always met like A&Rs and like managers and like this person's A&R. I went to Kendrick Lamar's mixtape party, like when he dropped his first mixtape with Dr. Dre at Quad Studios, but I didn't even get to meet him. Like it's always like there's always these barriers, like barriers, which I get it, because everybody's trying to, yo, listen to my CD, yo,
Yeah.
this, that. I remember 2 Chainz came to Yonkers, and this is when I was riding motorcycles in a motorcycle club, and one of the guys came to the car to give him a CD, and he would not take my mixtape. Right. So we went like looking for him while he was in Yonkers, and I'm glad we didn't find him. Because what's funny is they told us, oh, he came out there to shoot a music video, I think with Kanye West, right? And Kanye left, but 2 Chainz was like hanging out, and somebody's like, oh, he's at the pier. And I don't know why we thought he would be at like the hood pier that we hang out at. No, he was at the nice pier in Yonkers. So we went to the hood pier and ain't nobody there. I'm like,
he likes nice stuff. Clearly,
like,
2 Chainz. Yeah,
I guess. But yeah, man, I would say Jadakiss is really nice dude.
Yeah, he gives back a lot. That's awesome.
Yeah, they do a lot of stuff. Tony Moxberg is he's a more of a local artist, but he's like really been making a lot of noise touring with Kiss and stuff like that. Like he's been on Funk Flex and whatnot. He's probably my favorite person that I've met. He does the coat drives and toy drives with me, like that. He stamps them as like we're doing these together. And he really cares about his community.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's important. And both those guys live in the community too, right?
Yep.
So yeah, there's a lot of people that I see both sides of the coin. You know, once you get so big, you want to move out and you want to move away, to get away from, you know, whether it's drama or whatever. But it says a lot about a person who just stays and is just like, no, this is where I'm from, and I'm gonna make it better. It says a
Well,
lot.
kissing them, it's like, so what happens is when people leave their community, like when they make a name for themselves and then leave, I understand it to an extent
Yeah, to
because,
an extent, yeah.
but Jada and them, like, they've always been in the community. It's not just like somebody that lived over there and like, oh yeah, that person got famous. Like, no, they've always been in the community, in the streets, like always been there. So it's like, where are you gonna go? You know, it's not like they live in the hood anymore, but they're always in the community.
Yeah. Jadakiss is one of my favorite feature artists too, dude. He just like every feature, he just destroys it.
Yeah. I've stopped listening to secular hip hop. It I don't even listen to like Christian hip hop, except my boy C4. He's really good, really good. But I've really stepped away from a lot of like stuff that influences my mind to go back to who I used to be.
Ooh, gotcha. I understand.
Yeah. So if I listen to like a Jadakiss verse, I feel like moving back to Yonkers and selling drugs. So I just don't.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that makes sense. So what do you listen to then? What's your go-to?
I listen to like worship music, man. I'm like full blown
Yeah.
Christian, you
Yeah.
know. I don't curse. I don't drink liquor. Like I don't like I'm like a square now. But it's interesting because it was like the more that I started to dig into the word and the more that I became like just really digging for truth and trying to find these things out, it was like these weren't changes that happened in my life of where like, man, I got to stop doing this. Oh man, I got to stop cursing. I got to stop drinking liquor. Like
There's
I just,
choices.
it wasn't even choice. Like I just didn't want to do it anymore. Like
Oh,
it's really weird. Like I just all of a sudden was like, do you hear the police in the background?
yeah. It's all
No, Puerto Rico is so loud. I even have soundproofing on that window. It doesn't help.
right.
But yeah, I stopped wanting to do the things that I used to love doing. And now I look at like stuff that I used to enjoy doing. I'm like, I don't know how people do that anymore. Like it's so crazy to me, the radical change that falling in love with Jesus has done in my life. And it wasn't anything I did. Like there was no, I'm telling you that it's not like I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna stop doing this.
It
All right.
wasn't like that.
Yeah, it was a slow process of just like as I continued to do the things that I did before I was a Christian, like they just stopped feeling like good like they used to. I just was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Did you grow up in a Christian household at all?
No.
No, not a religious household at all. So this is something. So who was the person? Was there a particular person or group of people that were like, hey, you should probably check this out? This whole Bible thing,
Yeah. So uh it goes back to the business, right? I
Mhm.
got put into an environment of where
Positivity.
yeah, we're positive, but also I was surrounded by some millionaires, and these millionaires believed in God. Like they were always talking about God and this, that, and that was mind blowing to me because I thought that like you can't, I thought that if you were like Christian, you were poor, like you're not allowed to have money. Like you got to
Yeah.
live in poverty. Money is the root of evil. Like these are things
Yeah.
that I thought.
Yeah.
And then I just got around people who believed in God, and I just started asking questions like, hey, what's up with this stuff? And then one time I got invited to church, and I was not with the whole church thing. Like I
Mhm.
wasn't. I avoided it. And he was like, you got to come. You got to try this church. It's like a rock concert. He's like, I'm telling you, John. And this kid was like a street kid too. So like him telling me to go to church, like, no, you gotta go. I was like, all right, fine, I'll go check it out, right?
And
So I
where
go
was
check
this?
it
Was
out.
this back home? Back in New
And it
York?
was in New York City. So it was Hillsong, which they've had a bunch of problems now, but at the time, it was exactly what was needed for me. I went in there and it was like a rock concert. I was like, wow, this is really dope. The music was incredible. Like I've never heard Christian music like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool. I wasn't sold on the whole Jesus thing, but I was like, I like this. You know, I'm gonna go back. So I went to church, and I would go not every weekend, but I would consistently go.
Yeah.
Then I got invited to another church by a friend in Connecticut who was like, "Yo, you got to come to this one. It's like a regionals." And a regionals was like a training event that we all enjoyed going to. It was like super motivational and stuff like that, right? So I was like, all right, I'll check that out. I like this one. I'll go check out that one, you know? So, and it was right next to my mom's house. So I was just like, all right, it's convenient as well. So I went up there and at like the end of one of the services, I was at the front, you know, giving my life to Christ, taking a little pamphlet that they gave me. And I was like, what the heck just happened? It was like, I guess it was like an emotional sermon. It's like a blur to me. But when I got to my mom's house, I was just like going over this in my mind, like what did I just do? There's no, I'm not a Christian. Like
Yeah.
I made an emotional decision. You know, I didn't put my trust in Christ. I didn't believe in him as my Lord and Savior. None of that. I had an emotional sermon that drew me into coming down there. But it was at that moment that I was like, you know what? I'm gonna figure this thing out. Like I'm just gonna figure it out. So I went down this rabbit hole of like looking at what different religions believe, right? Including myself, because I was an agnostic atheist. And I was actually pretty hostile towards Christianity
Mm-hmm.
right before getting invited to church. I thought it was the stupidest thing ever. Like, you guys believe somebody rose from the dead? That's stupid. You know, like it just,
Yeah.
it
Just
didn't
shut
resonate.
off. Yeah.
Yeah. So when when I went down that journey of like trying to figure out, I really wanted it to not be true, right?
Oh
I
yeah.
want to just do
You wanted
whatever
to
I want.
discredit it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't want it to be true because I'm like, this is crazy. What am I doing here? Like, what am I doing, John? Going to church, doing this, doing like, what am I doing? Right. But then when I started looking into the different worldviews, you know, I looked into atheism. Like, does that make logical sense? I don't think that it does. When you really break everything down, if we had like another 3 hours, we could go through that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then I looked at, you know, what do pantheistic worldviews believe? You know, like Hinduism and Buddhism and
Mm-hmm.
those. And then I looked at, all right, well, what do the monotheistic religions believe? You know, Islam and Judaism and Christianity and uh, you know, do we have historical evidence for Jesus Christ even like really existing? Because I thought that maybe he was just a recreation of Horus and like these other Egyptian gods and all this stuff. I'm telling you, like I was very skeptical about everything. And it was like
Did
the
your
more,
research?
yeah, the more that I dug into it, the more that I was like just finding facts about the Christian worldview.
Hmm.
Like, so I went through this process of like, all right, if I'm going to remain an atheist, I have to believe that the whole entire universe popped into existence from nothing, right? Then not only do I have to believe that, I have to like I got to believe time, space, and matter came into existence from nothing, right? Then I have to believe that life came from non-life, and that I'm just like evolved soup, right? Like, and that nothing really matters. There's no morality. Like you can have subjective morality because, you know, I can feel that something's right or wrong. But if we're literally just evolved soup and we're atoms that are just bumping into each other and there's no like rhyme or reason, the whole entire universe is here by accident, then who cares if I put one through your forehead? You know, like who cares? There's no objective morality when it comes
Yeah.
to that, you know? So I'm like, it just doesn't make sense, right? And I know there's people who totally disagree with me, but
Oh, of course.
then I looked at like the pantheistic worldviews, which they believe the universe is eternal, right? Meaning like always has existed, always will exist, like it's an infinite universe, right? And that's been proven wrong by science because there's a lot of evidence for the beginning of the universe. You have the second law of thermodynamics, which shows that, which is basically just the law of entropy, that, the universe is running out of usable energy and it's eventually going to collapse in on itself. So if that's the case, then how could it be infinite, right? And you have all of these different things. So I'm like, I can't believe in a religion that believes that the universe is infinite if all of the evidence points to the universe being finite and it having a beginning and it having an end coming, right? So I'm like, all right, I can't believe that. Then I looked at the monotheistic religions. I'm like, how do I figure this one out now? Because now here I am at a place where I'm like, all right, it makes sense to believe in a God, a transcendent God that sits outside of time, space, and matter. But does that mean I'm going to believe in Christianity? Does that mean I'm going to believe in Judaism? Does that, like, all of that? So the one thing that I figured I could, like, pin down was the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, right? Like, what do all of these worldviews say about the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ? And when you look at the evidence of like the Gospels, people like to say, oh, the Bible's just written by man. They did it to control people, all this, and that. But if you look at like how the Gospels go, there's things that suggest that the Gospels are the events that actually happen, like that they've written down the events as they actually happen. One of them being the women finding Jesus's tomb empty. A woman's testimony at that time of the Gospels being written was looked at as worthless, right? You needed the testimony of at least 2 men in order to convict somebody in a court of law. If you had 17 women, their testimonies would not be able to convict a man in the court of law. Like their testimony was absolutely trash in that culture. Mm-hmm. So when you look at the gospel writers saying that it was the women who discovered the tomb, it was the women also who stayed with Jesus through his whole entire crucifixion. It's the women doing all of the brave stuff while the men are running. It doesn't seem like, if this was a forgery and this was being made up, that would be the case. Then you also have the conversion of, like, Paul, who is an actual historical figure, that there's a whole bunch of evidence for his existence. And he went from killing Christians to then having an experience with the risen Christ to then writing, like, most of the New Testament. So he gave up everything for it, gave up his social status, financial status, political status, gave up everything for it, got no reason to hold on to this lie. And he does it. Then you also have the conversion of Jesus's family, his brothers, who started believing in him. Imagine, Colin, like, if you got to convince a family member that you are God in the flesh, they're not going to believe you unless you rose from the dead. Like, they're just not gonna. So, I'm looking at all these facts, and I don't know when it happened, but I'm just like, man, I think Jesus is who he says he is. I think that he rose from the dead, and I'm going to believe this. I have no choice. I got all this evidence for it. So that was like my conversion story. I just came to that point. And then when I became a Christian, I just continued my life like regular, like nothing actually changed, right? Like I was still sleeping around. I was still drinking to get drunk. but I knew in my mind that Jesus was Lord, and that, all you need to do to get into heaven is put your trust in him. And that kind of like started to like really seep into my mind. Then I got to a point in life where I fell flat on my face, right? Money stopped coming in. I was losing everything, like just fell flat on my face. And I was like, well, how's this possible? Like I was also trapped by what's called the prosperity gospel, right? Where they teach you that if you believe in Jesus, you'll be healthy, you'll be wealthy, all that stuff. So I was caught up in that. I thought that was true. So when I am not healthy, not wealthy, and like my life's falling apart, I'm like, I think I've learned something wrong, right? So then I started really digging into the Bible and digging into it in context and like what it actually means, like these scriptures, like what does this mean in context? Because you can pull anything out and make it mean whatever you want it to mean.
Yeah.
But when you read something like the Bible, you got to read it in the way it was written, understanding who it was written to, when it was written, why it was written. You gotta know these things in order to really fully understand it. And it was when I was flat on my face that I went like just absolutely ham in learning it, and then came up with that company, and then here I am with this online ministry and all of this stuff. Like, it's crazy how God worked through that business and brought me all the way to where I'm at now. And now I'm about to release a book and everything. It's so crazy. Absolutely crazy.
How long have you been working on the book?
2 years.
Yeah, it's a long process. What process are you at right now with the book?
So right now we have a company looking to publish it, and it's a pretty
Okay.
big Christian publishing company. I was just going to put it out myself.
Yeah, self-published.
Yeah, and the way that God has been aligning things, it just seems that I'm not supposed to put it out myself, because it's like everything is falling into place, and I can like look back and connect the dots of how that happened. But I'm just like, I don't want to jump the gun, because right now they're really going through it again, like doing a double take on it to see if they're going to give it the green light.
And that process usually takes like a couple months usually.
I don't know. They seem to me like they're moving pretty quickly on it.
Okay.
So she asked me, one of the ladies reading it reached back out to me and asked me about a specific part in the book. So I know that that's where they're at.
So what is tell us a little bit, can you tell us a little bit about the book?
Yeah. So have you ever heard of the law of attraction?
Yeah.
All right. So I used to buy into the law of attraction wholeheartedly, right? Like all the way. I was sold on it. Before I was a Christian, even when I was a Christian, I was still believing it. I was like in on it, right? Trying to manifest my dreams. And this stuff like is infused into all businesses. If you're in sales business, it won't take you more than 2 weeks until you run into somebody telling you about the law of attraction. Like, it's just the way that it is, right? Yep. So as I was, doing my journey with Christianity, something just was like, it's like ringing in my ear of like, law of attraction is no good. Like, look into it, look into it more, right? And I had no idea that the law of attraction was connected to the New Age worldview, which is another pantheist worldview. It's like a mishmash of a whole bunch of things. But I had no idea that it was connected to that. And then I was like, well, let me look into this a little bit more. And then the further that I dug into it, I found that it had its roots in like people who were Luciferian and had like ties to Satanism and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy, right? So like, as I'm digging into this, now it starts branching off into other things, like, well, are they lying about what they're saying in the book? Like in The Secret and in like all of these things, are they lying about this stuff? So I start digging into like the truth claims that they're making in these books. And I'm realizing that they're just nonsense. You can't even, some of them are unfalsifiable claims. Like you can't even find out if it's true or false. They're just saying it, right?
Yeah.
Then I'm looking at like, they're claiming that science proves the law of attraction. I'm like, well, actually, the science that you're claiming proves the law of attraction is in contradiction with what we know to be true about science, and then them saying that, oh yeah, it's in the Bible. The law of attraction is in the Bible. And at this point, I know it's not.
I've done a deep dive.
Yeah. So I'm like, and then I start looking into the people who are pushing this stuff, and I'm finding mad scandals and like just crazy stuff. And I found out, if you watch the movie The Secret, there's this one woman who says that she beat breast cancer through the law of attraction, right? She didn't take any medicine, she didn't anything. She beat it with the power of her mind. And at the time, when I was caught up in that, I was like, wow, that's dope, right? What I didn't know is that this woman actually died of breast cancer. So here she is in this movie telling you that she's beat breast cancer and you can beat it too, all with the power of your mind. And she's dead from breast cancer. So I'm like, yo, if even 1% of people who watch this nonsense believe it, it's like, I think like 130,000 people who are in danger of because there's like 35 million copies sold, right? So it's like 100,000 or so would be in danger of losing their life if just 1% of people actually believe what they're being
chose
told.
That route. Yeah.
So I wrote a book completely bodying the law of attraction and like just ripping it apart. And a bunch of my friends are still caught up in the law of attraction. So I'm just ready to drop this bomb on everybody.
So what's your advice as far as the belief system, as far as like, because I understand the basis of law of attraction, like, like, oh, I see it as like, if I'm a good person and doing good things will happen to me.
Now that's like karma.
That's more karma.
Yeah, that's more karma. You reap what you sow and stuff like that. Karma actually people have a twisted view of karma as well.
Yeah.
Whereas karma actually isn't for this life, it's like for your next life. So like the stuff that you're doing now is like how you're gonna get reincarnated. Your karma gets like paid to you in the next life. So if you keep doing good, maybe you won't be reincarnated as a bug or something like that,
Yeah.
But the law of attraction says like you can attract anything that you want in life, right?
It's more manifesting.
Yeah. So they say that your thoughts are frequencies, right? And if you just keep your mind on the frequency of exactly what you want, the universe has no choice but to give it to you, right? And I bought into that. Oh my gosh, did I buy into that? I call it getting on the secret cycle, right? It's where you cannot have not even one negative thought enter your mind or it messes up your whole entire life. Like I was in this, like, if I had something bad pop in my head, it was like I would ignore things that I needed to pay attention to it, because if I don't pay attention to it, I'm not going to fix it, right? I would ignore those things just to stay on a positive wavelength and to attract into my life. And another thing that you'll notice is most people who practice the law of attraction, they're not millionaires. Like 99.99% of all people who are practicing the law of attraction and telling you that you can manifest all of this stuff, they're not making no money. The only people who are making money are the people who have made businesses out of teaching people the law of attraction. That's it.
That's it. And there's probably some stats to support that as well.
Yeah. Well, also, so I have a few friends who have went from nothing to something, and not only nothing to something, but from something to like multimillionaires, right?
Yeah.
Watch them go from nothing, and many of them will attribute that success to the law of attraction. But what they fail to like recognize, I'm like, why would you give your credit away to the law of attraction? I've watched
you did the work.
Yeah, I've watched you work around the clock. Like
you have to put in the work.
Yeah, oh my gosh, my friend David Peach, right? Super anti-law of attraction. And he was the fastest person in our company to get to like the top rank, right? Making millions of dollars. He did it in 10 months. He beat everybody who was there before him. He did not do that because of the law of attraction. He knocked down the walls at his chiropractic center to make more room to have presentations. Like he put in the work, So it's interesting when the person who doesn't believe in the law of attraction beats everybody else who does, because then it's like, I thought your law of attraction thing was working there,
Yeah. At the end of the day, man, it's all about, you have to put in the work, you have to put in the action. Like You can't just, that sounds like making a wish to me.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. It's like, yeah, I want to have a successful podcast, but I don't want to interview anyone.
Yeah. Just want it to happen.
Yeah. Just number one on Spotify right now. Can you hear the fan?
I heard it for a second.
All right.
I heard something.
All right. Let's say it is getting hot in here.
No, you're good. Right. I gotta wrap up anyway soon, because I think I might have to check back in with work, because that's one thing with working from home, and I'm also salaried. Mm-hmm. I'm always on the clock.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Business, and it's the same thing.
Oh, I know. And eventually I'm gonna get to that route, but I just haven't figured out what I want to do yet. The 9 to 5 is just is stability right now.
Yeah, man. I always tell people you gotta your 9 to 5 is what pays the bills, and then your 5 to 9 is you work on your dreams. You find the time to just here you are working in pockets on your podcast. You had the call that you had to take before we got on. Now you got a call coming up later. That's what you do. You take the time that you have and you get done what you need to get done. Or you could just like sit around and manifest it, whatever you want to do.
Oh man, I gotta think of a good joke for that because that's another thing I've been doing, man. The comedy thing's been fun, man. That's it. Talk about positivity, man. Like the people that I've met, just like you'd think like some comedians I bet are very sad, depressed, negative people, but some of them are sad and depressed, but they're still positive and they're still good people and they want you to do well and supportive. And I've been really lucky to find a good community like that because it's hard to find people that like want to lift other people up and not bring them down or like try to one up you or whatever.
You got to attract it, bro. You got to just put it out into the universe and and bring it to you.
Yeah.
But no, that's really good that you found that. I do feel so. One of my views on like the law of attraction is that if you become more attractive, you attract people. Like if you're enjoying what you're doing, you're having fun doing it, you're experiencing it, you're lifting other people up. Other people who are interested in what you're doing are going to want to be around you. It's not the universe doing it. That's all you.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense because I've noticed that. And that's why I'm not really like hung up on the dating apps like I was joking about earlier. It's more of just like when I'm bored or whatever, I'll like before I go to bed, I'll mess around on them. But I don't spend too much time on there because like I want to meet a person, organically, and also because I put out a good energy, someone that wants to talk to me because, I'm doing good things and, not trying to force something.
Like make a friend, bro. Like if I could give any advice is that when my wife and I were friends before we ever started dating, we had no idea that we would even, I always thought she was cute, but that was it. Like I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I just thought she was cute.
Yeah.
And she didn't even like me at one point. Like, but we were cool. We and then it was like when we were ready, it was like God just lifted the veil and was like, now's the time. That's the one for you. And it went from 0 to 100 real quick. So, you gotta, part of my advice would be, do you want a girl who's on a dating app? Like if you're working towards marriage and stuff like that, do you want a girl who's on a dating app?
No,
Probably not.
Probably not.
If you want to find someone who is if you want to find someone who you're looking to build that future with, might as well just get off the apps completely.
Yeah. And it was just what I did. And then I broke my rule the other day. And now I'm going to have to make fun of myself for it. It's been good stand-up material though, for sure.
Yeah, of course. I could imagine.
It's fantastic because so many people can relate to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you taking the time, and I'm glad we finally made this happen.
Definitely. I feel like the conversation isn't complete, so we'll have to do it again.
Yeah, for sure, man. We'll definitely have to link up. Maybe we'll do a live, but even though I'm scared of them, but I'm not scared of them, but I know what you're talking about. Like there's a bunch of shit to worry about, but the lives are where it's at. I just was on my buddy's YouTube live last night because he wanted to interview me about the podcast and just comedy. And he's been doing a little segment at the beginning of his shows, and he does a live every Sunday. And I was just shocked at like how many comments and stuff that he was getting. I was just like, holy shit. And
stay consistent, man. Stay consistent. That's it.
That's the name of the game.
Maybe a year from now, you and I will both have hundreds of thousands of viewers and stuff like that. And then when we do a live, it's like a big thing.
Yeah. We'll make it a big event.
Yeah.
Well, I've always wanted to do some people, some of the bigger names that have been doing podcasts, they'll do a podcast, like a live podcast, like at a theater, or like at an event center. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that's dope.
That's something to shoot for. There's always something cooler to do. There's always something bigger.
Gotta innovate, man. Gotta always innovate.
Yep. All right, man. Well, I got to get going, but I appreciate you taking the time. We'll talk soon, okay, man?
Definitely. And if you make a law of attraction joke, tag me.
Yeah, I'll let you know, man. For sure.
Later.
All right, later.